Hi there and welcome to Our Gamified World. I'm Adam Brown
I'm Danielle and
and today we are talking about Habitica, a habit building motivational app that I have some experience with, but more importantly we have a testimonial and a bit of a description of how the app works from a student of mine, Sarah DeVries, who very generously gave her time to me in one of my teaching videos. So here it is. Thank you very much for talking to us, Sarah, and for grappling with the traffic that will probably pass by. But could you please tell us a little bit about Habitica? How did you come across it and why are you using it?
Yeah, well, Habitica is basically a gamified to-do list. I'm finding it really useful because other to-do lists are really quite boring in my opinion. You just write down your task, you tick it off, and that's about it. But the game part of Habitica makes it really fun, and there's also a lot of socialization involved. So I found it through my sister who typed in gamification and personal development into Google. And so we are a party on Habitica, so we look at each other's levels, we kind of compete with each other. Eventually, when our levels get high enough, we can fight monsters. And so that kind of aspect makes it really enjoyable to tick off my goals and get things done.
Fantastic. And so can you just show us a little bit about how it works? You've got it on your phone here. So you've constructed an avatar.
Yeah, so basically you can have your own little image just there. You can even get pets. You can also get your currency when you do tick off your to-dos.
Right, so it's a virtual currency, just like the Tiffet system.
Yeah, basically, and then you can get your own rewards. So you can give yourself a 15-minute break or get armor, and the armor is there for when you want to fight monsters, which will happen for me later on.
Right, fantastic. So you haven't leveled up quite enough to go hunting?
No, I'm only level 5 and my sister's level 6, so she's being a bit rude to me, telling me to hurry up, but but I got her back because I made myself buy a potion, and this potion turned her into a flower.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yes.
So even though you're in a party cooperating together, you've got this positive form of friendly competition that's inspiring you, egging you on.
Exactly, yes.
Wow, that's fantastic. So how are you finding it overall? It's really motivating you to keep up with things?
Yeah, it really is. Just the other to-do list, just ticking it off is just really boring. And there's also another socialization aspect where you can talk to people in guilds. So other people who use Habitica, you can form a guild with them. There's a newbies guild and there's like 20,000 users on there, and everyone just talks to each other and encourages people to achieve their goals. So it's really, really great.
So how are you finding this app, Adam?
Well, I've been using it for maybe a little bit over 2 months now, and it's extraordinarily valuable. I'm finding it immensely useful to build up some habits. I'm not always 100% successful, but that's kind of the good thing. I think when you actually fail, it does reinvigorate you. And if I set all my what are called the habits, dailies, and to-dos, they're similar, but the sort of different categories of objectives you can set. You sort of, if you did all those, maybe it just becomes too easy. And so you've got to challenge yourself. But so what happened is the first day that I joined, my partner also downloaded it. And what's interesting is, and Sarah talked about her sister being on there at first with her. Sarah's sister stopped using it, and my partner stopped using it after a day. So what we've done is put together a party so we can collaborate together, and a party is, as Sarah was saying, a sort of a guild, World of Warcraft style, but not so immersive. And we can collaborate and give each other a bit of a prod, motivationally speaking. So I find it really useful overall. Yeah.
What do you think are some of the disadvantages of this app?
Well, I guess it all comes down to how it's used in the end. As I said, I found it really valuable and it's still working for me.
Yep.
But as I said, my partner joined and she admitted, quite honestly, that if she did not tick off everything, if she used this app regularly, and she only used it for one day anyway, if she didn't tick off all those things that she put down, she would have just ticked it off anyway. She would have ticked it off even if she didn't do it. So there is an element of honesty You've got to constantly be honest with yourself and approach these things. If it just becomes a game that you want to complete and level up and get experience and so on, it's actually going to be a pretty boring game because it's not a game. So you've got to make it work for you. The potential disadvantage is that, or the limitations of it is that it does require that on a regular basis, I think, because one thing you do when you set your objectives is that you set not only the description, maybe a deadline, but also the difficulty. So you can make it easy, moderate, or difficult, I think, or challenging. So you set the difficulty, and over time, some of those daily habits or weekly habits you've set should and would get easier. And the app doesn't prompt you to actually rethink the difficulty settings, because if something's more difficult, it's going to give you more experience when you pass it.
Yep.
So I think just to constantly self-evaluate, it's something that I suppose some apps you could have push notifications or some recommendations within it to remind you to do that. But the way in which people use things is very different. So I guess there's always this approaching things with integrity and actually making it work for you, because otherwise it's just going to become a points gainer that you actually don't really get too much out of. So I think that's been key for me. When I set things, there's either two things. If you set something as a goal in these kinds of apps, which you're going to do anyway by that date, you have no choice.
Yeah.
There's no point. You know, there's no point in doing that. I will have lunch today. I mean, technically some people may not, I suppose, but if that's a goal for you, then great, and if it makes you. But if I'm going to do that anyway, I wouldn't set it as an app, as a goal. The things that you want to set as goals in these kinds of apps, I think, are things that you were going to do, but you want to do by a certain date, and you want to push yourself to do it a bit earlier, or things that you know could just slip by and that you're not actually going to do it, and you want to motivate yourself to actually get it done. I think that's the key. So the potential limitation of these apps is that it still relies on user agency.
Yeah.
It still relies on you.
Yeah, it's not totally automated.
Exactly right. Yeah, and it shouldn't be, because you actually, it should prompt you to rethink, to keep thinking and rethinking what you're doing. So yeah, I think that's been my experience. There's going to be heaps to talk about. I'm going to still use it. I'm still very, very much motivated to use it. So I'm sure we'll come back to it in the future. Thanks for watching. Join us next time when we have a look at Rocksmith.
And feel free to subscribe and comment and like us on Twitter.